edition of Drivers Alert Safety Talks. I'm Rich Sordahl. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, 2014 saw more than 9,000 people die in speeding-related accidents across the United States. This equates to 28% of all fatalities. Speeding is now the third leading contributing factor in all traffic accidents. Here to discuss the topic of speeding is driver safety guru Paul Murray. Paul, let's start off with the toughest question of all. Is speeding a solvable issue?
Absolutely, Rich. But unfortunately today, it truly is an ever-growing epidemic as people, driving and non-driving employees, are asked to do significantly more in a standard workday.
Okay. Something interesting I came across was a publication called Focus on Safety, a practical guide to automated traffic enforcement. And some of the reasons they list that drivers speed include they're in a rush, they're not paying attention to their driving, they just don't think the laws apply to them, they don't think their driving is dangerous, and they don't think they will get caught. And one of my personal opinions is everyone else is doing it. Sometimes you simply feel pressure because everyone around you is speeding as well. So it almost sounds to me like speeding has a cultural component too. So Paul, do you think there is a cultural aspect to speeding? And if so, how do we address it?
Absolutely. I definitely think there is a cultural aspect that plays into a driver operating a vehicle too quickly. If a driver's rushed, stressed, or they feel that they're under the gun, they're going to cut corners, they're going to operate their motor vehicle in a quicker fashion. How can it be addressed? Unfortunately, a loaded question. Definitely allow a driver to know that he or she has the ability to wave off the next stop if they think they're going to be too late, contact dispatch, let someone know that they're going to be late, and then they can focus on the task at hand and not worry about making it to their next stop on time.
Okay, very good. Also, NHTSA reported that in 2011, 25% of all speeding-related fatalities occurred on streets with a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour or less. In fact, in the same year, 87% of speeding-related fatalities occurred on roads that were not interstate highways. So Paul, in general, what's the takeaway here and what can we learn from these statistics?
With any highway that you're operating on, there's usually standard, significant engineering that separates any kind of vehicle with a guard, a barrier, etc. In most, if not all, residential streets, you're obviously at a lower speed, so they don't put as many safeguards in, such as traffic circles or speed bumps. Things that would keep a driver from technically or necessarily obeying a speed limit. Again, also drivers think at a lower speed, they might not need to pay as much attention to their surroundings, as again, they think their vehicle may stop quicker than it actually would.
Okay. I found this one very interesting. In 2015, a Finnish businessman was fined 54,000 euros for speeding because in Finland, some traffic fines are assessed based on a person's personal earnings. So Paul, do you think this is something state governments in the United States might adopt or possibly just explore?
Well, I can tell you I would definitely not want to pay a speeding fine that hefty, but I do think that we should have tighter controls around maybe automated notification. For instance, in the United Kingdom, they're sending out, if a driver's speeding, an automated ticket to the registered owner of the vehicle that driver may pay. Now, it may not be something like 54,000 euros, but it's enough in which a driver remembers I was speeding there, slows them down. Or maybe tighter fines around speeding if they're pulled over by a police officer. Or also other discipline, such as license suspension, or more points on a license, or greater education about speeding and other driving-related factors.
Okay. We both know that managing a vehicle fleet is no easy task.
For sure.
When it comes to the issue of speeding and driver safety, I mean, what would you tell today's fleet manager?
I would tell them to explore any kind of in-vehicle technology like a GPS or telematics unit that monitors and also governs safe or unsafe operation of a vehicle. They can even look at a solution such as a How Am I Driving program that solicits concerned or complimentary motorists on the roads today, that a driver knows that someone cares about them, but also is watching out for their well-being.
Okay, very good. Well, that concludes this episode of Drivers Alert Safety Talks. Special thanks to Paul Murray for his insight, and until next time, Please drive safely.
That a good boy!